Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Kevin Strange. I am a cartoonist, novelist, and indie filmmaker, and I'm here today to share with you my love of comic books as we dive deep into my favorite comic book of all time, The Maxx, with my pal, Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, welcome to the
What's
show.
up? What's going on? You
Uh,
know I love the Max. This is like one
oh
of my
my
favorites.
God, this is I was a fan. What's crazy about The Maxx for me was most people know The Maxx as a MTV cartoon from MTV's Oddities. And I was a fan of the comic book long before. I don't know about long. When did that? Was it 90,
I think it came
94?
out in '93. I think is when
90?
'92 or '93, or well, end of '92 is when it looks like it was announced because this Wizard magazine is from December of '92, and that's when I had first heard about the Max.
And then what about MTV's Oddities? Do you know what year that was? That 94? It was very quickly because they ended the Max cartoon on issue 13, right? 12 or issue 13 is when when the cartoon ends. So there weren't that many Maxes. There was about a year's worth of Maxes when the cartoon came out.
Yeah, this it says online that it came out April to June of '95 is when
95. Okay. So I
originally.
was, yeah, so I had already collected, I was probably out of, by 95, I was probably out of collecting comics actually and chasing tail as it were. But I definitely watched the cartoon and I loved it. Obviously. I mean, it's such a true to the comic. I mean, insanely true to the comic cartoon. Um,
Oh yeah,
a lot of people misremember it as being a show that aired by itself. It actually aired alongside a cartoon called The Head, and I saw you do a
we watched the,
you
the
watched a little
trailer
bit of
for the
it
head.
on your channel a couple weeks ago, right?
I did. I did. I can't. Was I showing Sam? I think Sam had never heard of the head, and I was like, oh, okay, you got to see it.
How much do you remember about The Head? Was it a comic book or did it was it a just a straight up cartoon?
I think it was just a cartoon, but I
So
remember that they
weird.
had like card sets of all of
Yeah,
those.
The Head
So
is so weird and ugly and gross, and I loved every second of it. And I'd say this all the time. Some of our comic book compatriots, preach about this truth, beauty, and goodness stuff that our sort of duty as artists is to create beauty, and something like The Head is so weird and ugly, but I'm drawn to the ugliness of it. Or like Beavis and Butthead, ugliness of Beavis and Butthead. I love ugly art styles. I'm drawn to them. And Sam Keith could be in many ways described as ugly, and the Max could be described as ugly. Certainly, some of the characters within are all flawed and all very ugly
right,
in their own ways. They all have their dark qualities and light qualities, and oftentimes the dark qualities far outweigh their light qualities, like in the case of Mr. Gone. So let's get into it. We're here today to look at the Max. We're not gonna read every page of every issue of the Max today, but we are gonna flip through some of the greatest hits here. And I don't even have the complete 1 through 18. I have 1 through 18 with some holes in it. And Dr. Ben, you have up through, what did you say, 20? I just got rid of you. Now I'm going to bring you back.
20, 20, 22, and 23 are the higher numbers I've got.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've never owned those. Those covers are completely foreign to me, which is
they're
odd to
all
say that this is my favorite comic book of all time and I don't have the collection. But what happened was, after around issue 20, the the print runs got smaller and smaller and smaller, and they became extremely rare and hard to find and are very expensive today.
It's true. It's true. You
So
gotta snatch them up when you see them. Right.
let's click back over here. Dr. Ben, why don't you give us a a quick overview. What the hell is this comic book about?
Well, the Maxx is he's he's a person that kind of he exists in two different realms, basically. Or it's kind of like it's a mystery because the comic doesn't explain everything, right? It gives us these different perspectives. One is this character that lives in alleys
In this
in
cardboard
boxes,
box, right? In this soaking wet cardboard box, right here.
replaying old episodes of Cheers in their mind in between. He doesn't really even like stop crime necessarily. Like sometimes he does, but he's not real necessarily good at it. But he's this weird creature. He's like we were saying, he's a superhero, but he's a homeless superhero because he's in like a spandex suit. And he's got claws. He's got teeth. He can bite people's fingers off at least.
Giant feet.
I would assume he's strong. It doesn't really explain a lot about what exactly he does or what his powers would be, or what I mean. It's just he's a homeless superhero. He's kind of it throws us into this world, and it's like it's such a strange look. Like this was like the beginning of Image back in 92 or 93. So like everyone was kind of like it seemed like anything was possible. Spawn had come out, Youngblood had come out, all these other Savage Dragon. Everyone was just like, wow. Comics are crazy. There's all these new characters.
This is an iconic page. This is when Maxx first awakens into Pangia or the Outback.
And then that's we get the Maxx, and he's got this is this other world that he lives in is this. They call it Pangia. They do call it Pangia, which is supposed to be. Wasn't Pangia supposed to be the supercontinent of all?
Supercontinent before the continents on Earth broke up into the way they are now.
Allegedly. But in Pangia, he's like, and it's weird too because it's not like it's like he's the same person, but he also isn't. Like he has like almost like different personalities or something, because the character that's in Pangia, this weird Outback, is more like
very confident. He's a savage killer. He doesn't just
from there. Like it's like a jungle world with like all kinds of strange animals, flying whales.
Yeah,
so he's this other version of him, or other personalities from there. And
but across both worlds exists Julie Winters, the Jungle Queen. she's his, I don't know, the queen he worships in Pangia, but in the real world she's his social worker, trying to keep him out of jail for being homeless.
Right.
Who's also she's a rape victim, right? That's what led her into social work. But she has this weird kink or hang up of dressing as slutty as possible, as though like tempting that experience to happen to her again. She's got a shitload of mental problems herself.
She's not afraid. She's not going to be intimidated by her attackers, or the memories of her attackers.
Super Patriot, awesome comic also.
Oh yeah. Go back one page, because do you have that Death Blow #1 or no?
That has
Cybernary
on the other side of it. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but I have it in my box.
That might be another one we should look at, just to like kind of keep with this theme, because like not right this second, obviously, but like that the guy that drew the Cybernary, that the art in there is like the same, that super crazy, super dark and inky style that we don't really see that as much nowadays, for one. Like,
and that only went a few issues, right? And that guy died.
Yeah, that's, I think it's in the first 4 issues of Death Blow has got the Cybernary backup. and then they did a mini series of it a couple years later with I think
Different,
Richard. Yeah, different people.
different team. These like these puzzle piece panels for years in the back of Maxx comics. People would try to figure out like if it spelled something or if it was a clue or something. No, it's just Sam being weird. Sam just. We talked about this in another episode about Sam Kieth, where this the drapery, the way Mr. Gone's cape here. This is just an iconic shot. This whole page. I mean, to me, this page is just perfection. This is perfect, Sam Kieth. This is what makes the Maxx so disturbing. And
is that the doorway into the laundromat? Is that weird little?
This thing is like a window. It's like a window, but it doesn't even have glass in it.
Well, see, that's why I wonder if it's a window or if it's the doorway. Because doesn't it show it? Like, go back a page to where it shows them outside. Does it?
Oh yeah, I guess it is the doorway.
Like, it's just such an odd little like throwaway thing, like to have like a, like
a hobbit hole.
Yeah, just like bizarre architecture that like, you got to plan all that out just for like two panels. Two panels that have this thing in there, and it sticks out so much. Like anytime, because like that scene of like Mr. Gone going in there after that girlfriend. I mean, that's such a, like you said, it's iconic. I mean, in the cartoon version of it, I mean, it's terrifying.
Oh, it is. It's so disturbing and compelling, and it has such a flavor of its own. It's not like anything I've ever seen before. There's nice, good. I guess that's an establishing shot of Mr. Gone's face.
And like
that's the gas station. It's like a connecting gas station.
Well, it's funny because we used to have a gas station in the next town over that was similar to that, but it was just one large UFO instead of two UFOs.
Yeah, two UFOs.
I like that this spot here too is like we start to like. This is the first issue, isn't it?
Yes, this is all still the first issue.
He jumps onto there like he's chasing those little izzes, the black izzes.
Yeah,
and he's thinking. And like Mr. Gone can hear him thinking because he's like talking out loud while he's thinking. Like everything he thinks, he's just saying out loud. Like, oh man, who's this guy?
This is another this double page spread right here. This is the money. This is the final, obviously the final page of the issue. But
doesn't he say something there too?
What's that?
What is it like? Mr. Gone like says like you're talking out loud or like,
yeah, damn, still talking out loud. Because Mr. Gone responds to him. He says, "It was all coming back to me. I could feel the hot sun on my back skin, and the grasses under my toes. Those little creatures were izzes, but twisted and changed by being moved to this world." And then Mr. Gone says, "True enough. Too bad you'll be eaten before you have a chance to mutter this to anyone." And he says, "Damn, still talking out loud." So yeah, Maxx is always running his commentary out loud, thinking that he's talking to himself in his head.
That's what I mean. Like, I think that's just like immediately like establishes that he's like, he has mental challenges.
Several things on this page, stick out. Like the character design, the underside of his mouth just being this flat surface is amazing. Mr. Gone's cape going in all these directions behind him while simultaneously being in front of him. And then the teeth on the izzes.
Oh yeah, the izz are like the most
nightmare.
Those teeth are the most disturbing thing. Like he's.
That's Maxx number 1. Let's jump ahead to. I'm a fan. We talked about. Sorry for bumping the camera. We talked about this a little bit off camera. Maxx number 6 cracks me up. This is Mako. He's a Savage Dragon villain, and he crosses over into the Maxx, and so you even get a Savage Dragon crossover here.
Savage Dragon appearance,
and then a little Savage Dragon appearance in because these little kids are, and these are like almost like Calvin and Hobbes. So you could even put Bill Watterson as a influence on Sam Kieth.
That, yeah.
We talked about in another video about Sam Kieth's influences being Bernie Wrightson, Frank Frazetta, Arthur Sudam, and who was the last one?
Frank Frazetta? Did you already say Frazetta?
I already said Frazetta.
Wrightson. Oh, Vaughn Baudet. Okay.
Yeah, Vaughn Baudet. I have a bunch of Vaughn Baudet we could go over in a video too if you want. But yeah, these kind of have like see, this is like, you see this little whatever this is?
That's the scarf from the guy in the first issue.
And then it's the same pattern here. This is the tiger stripes. So this is an homage to Calvin and Hobbes for sure.
Oh, and the little kid has like a little tiger too.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
So there's a little Bill Watterson there. Oh yeah, there's the tiger right there. But then Mako shows up and dang, geez, a land shark. This stuff always happens just after I glue my hands shut over my claws. I hate that. And so Maxx is going to spend this entire issue fighting this crazy giant killer land shark with his fists glued shut, so he doesn't have access to his claws. And so he just gets beat up. He's just running away.
One of the other things we should point out too is with the Izzes, the little guys with the teeth. Only the Maxx sees them as Izzes. Like other people see them as like
as whatever Mr. Gone puts on their head. Like if he puts a police cap on an Izz, then people see a police officer. So this whole issue, I love this shot right here where he
landed in the pool.
Yeah, he lands in the pool and he has to put his arm out to keep from being eaten. That's such a great shot. Chug, 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 chug. We talked in the last video about Sam Kieth. We talked about the fisheye lens. He loves to use the fisheye lens when he draws vehicles.
Is he supposed to have gone like unconscious or something?
Something, yeah. Because here he is in the outback, hanging out with Julie.
Okay, because when he goes underwater, I didn't notice that. He's like my head, and then it's like chung chung. Okay. Huh.
Great shot of Mako here. Just great cartooning. Look at the size of the hands and everything. And I guess, is that a panel inside the panel? Because this is like it's like a silhouette of the truck, but he's got an actual panel of him holding the truck in the truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's like he's like, that's just him holding that part of the whatever that
bottom of the truck in silhouette.
Truck, right. That's
or side of it, whatever this piece here is.
Yeah, that's
more weird UFOs that Sam draws as architecture. Here it is again down here.
Just chords.
He's down. So he's been getting beat up and down and running away from Mako this whole time, and he runs into a telephone cord factory, which is hilarious because this is one of Sam Kieth's like most iconic image. Some of the most iconic imagery that he does. One of his tropes is drawing these spirals in his drapery, in his clothing. And so he falls into a telephone cord manufacturing plant, and there's a solvent in the factory that melts the glue, and he gets his claws back. And in this dramatic image, his hands cease to exist, and his hands are just giant claws for some reason. which is amazing. And then he's able to, of course, make short work of Mako once that happens. And that's one of my favorite issues of the Maxx. We went over issue 7, which was a Maxx and Pitt issue. And number 8 here, doesn't this get weird? Doesn't he like turn into a cartoon in this issue or not? No, that's a different issue.
That's issue 5.
Oh, issue 5 is the one he turns into a cartoon. Let's take a look at issue 5. I've got that right here. Let's take a look.
They call him the Amazing Crap On, I believe, is what the other cartoon is named.
So he's like hanging on to him here, and then he's like asleep. Look at the bags on. Not a lot of consistency here. Look at the titties on her in this shot versus this shot. She grew about 3 or 4. Oh, look at the Izzes creeping on her. I forgot about that. The Izzes are looking. Oh, damn it! I kicked them.
Like they don't have eyes either.
They don't have eyes to even be looking through a telescope, which is amazing. And then, so then Maxx wakes up and he's a cartoon. and everything from here on, the dialogue, it all rhymes.
Right. Well, all this part is by whoever that is, by like an actual like animator or whatever. So it's Dave Feiss or something.
Dave Feiss, yeah. Crap On Dream Sequence by Dave Feiss. And so this is bizarre. This is only the 5th issue of this comic book, keep in mind.
Right.
The Maxx goes off the rails so fast because he goes from this. He goes from this dream sequence shit right into a team up with then he fights Mako, then a team up with Pitt where they get shrunk down into tiny people. 5, 6, and then 8, 7, and 8 are him and Pitt shrunk down. And this is iconic right here. And look, they use telephone cords.
Sticking with the telephone cords. That was just his thing, that he liked to draw telephone cords.
To draw spirals. Really like to draw spirals.
It's like that Junji Ito story.
Yeah. That's crazy. We'll have to do it. We'll have to do an episode on Junji Ito too, because he's great. Here's one of those flying whales.
Is this the issue where they end up like sitting on top of a mailbox or something? They're like, I think it might be, or isn't
this this is where she decapitates Mr. Gone, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like they go back and forth between the two worlds, and it's like it. It's interesting because it really makes you wonder, like, what is he actually crazy? Is there really another world that they're traveling to? I mean, obviously, it's all superheroes.
This is spoiler alert. This is Mr. Gone's head, right?
Yes.
In this box. And who does he mail himself to? Does he mail himself to Sarah?
Yes. Well, I think that is. I mean, I don't think we're really worried about spoilers, but I think Sarah is supposed to be his daughter, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll go to number 10 because this is Flashback Gone. This is when he's still uncle. This is when he's still the uncle to Julie, right? Where he's the one traveling back and forth to the Outback. So isn't this a prequel?
See, I don't think I've had that issue. So,
see, this is Mr. Gone before he became Mr. Gone, when he was still a
pimp.
Because this doctor's trying to sew his head back on to his body after it had been chopped off, and so now we're going to go back. Gone tells us a little fairy tale, and this is his story of him showing up at Sarah's house when Julie's house when she's a little girl, and tells this is her father's or her mother's brother, and tells them this crazy story about how he's been able to do this interdimensional travel to this place that he calls Pangia, or the Outback. This is him talking to his dad outside.
Yeah, I haven't seen this issue. I've never seen this issue.
So he says, air whales and flying snails as big as your fists. Yeah, this is a really, really convoluted story, basically of this weird family.
Okay.
And Mr. Gone's obsession with his niece. And then Sarah is his own daughter. And that's the... Yeah, there's a story that Sarah tells where there was a bunny rabbit hit by a car outside of their house.
Okay.
And she tries to nurse it back to health, but she puts it in a box and puts it under her bed, and all it does is scream and cry. And so her mom grabs a shovel, takes the fucking box outside, and smashes the rabbit to death.
Oh.
And buries it. And little Julie watched it all happen.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do. I mean,
very dark stuff.
Got to put them out of their misery.
It's a very weird, very dark, convoluted comic, and it just kind of keeps rolling down that road. We'll pull out my last issue, and then we'll jump to the issues you have. The last one I have is 18. So the cartoon series ended abruptly at like issue 12 or 13, and basically has Maxx. Spoiler alert. If you don't want spoilers for the series or the comic book, then go check those things out. Come back to our video later. But Maxx ends up taking the mask off and finding out that he's two things. He's Julie's spirit animal in the Outback, which is a giant rabbit.
Right.
Which is connected to that rabbit that was beaten to death by her mother. And he's also a homeless guy, which we know, but in his life before he was homeless, he was a what do you call it? He was a gardener. And so in the final moments of Maxx cartoon, he takes off the mask and goes into a greenhouse to take care of it. But the book keeps going. The book doesn't end like that.
Right.
The book keeps going and going and going. And at a certain point, what issue is it that Julie shows up? Because Julie disappeared. The comic ostensibly becomes about Sarah and her dad, Mr. Gone's relationship at a certain point here. And Julie disappears for a long time. And when Julie comes back, she's pregnant. Do you remember what?
See, I haven't gotten to any of those issues. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm it's just a matter of like I've never seen them.
See, she's pregnant here. See her belly?
Oh, wait a second. Well, that must be okay. So what issue is that? That's 19.
That's issue 18.
18. Okay. So I have issue 20, and it has her. I haven't read issue 20 yet, so I don't really know.
And I think this is what's left on. Like he's just a flatter with eyes.
Huh.
And Maxx is running around in the Outback doing weird shit. Look at that thing.
Yeah, that's in. Is that the beginning of this one? Yeah, he's in the beginning of this one. That thing with the long head.
Look, Julie's not pregnant in the Outback, though.
I don't know. It's what I remember too about this, like as a kid, is like the letters page.
Yes,
was insane. Like there was just there's crazy people writing in. There was all kinds of stuff in that, and then also in Wizard magazine back then about like kids. Do you want to get a pen pal. Put your name and address here, and
Yeah.
get a pen pal. And I'm like, even as a kid, I remember thinking like, it didn't seem like a good idea. Yeah, this
Right.
is like, I'm gonna send my address to a bunch of crazy people in comics. Be their friend. Yeah, like I said, I just got this one. I haven't read it yet, but it's issue 20, and it starts off with that guy with the big. He's what, chasing them or something? I don't know. So I haven't read that. I haven't read 19. I don't have it. I like his feet though.
Yeah, they get really hard to find. That's what I was telling you. You were telling me about your trips to that big warehouse out there. I was like, keep a lookout for those, man. You can find them in those dollar bins, even though they're. Yeah, that thing's cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to read that because it definitely. Yeah, let me flip a couple more pages because it definitely has. There's Julie and the Maxx talking, and it shows her being. That's what I'm saying. I've never read these, so I don't know that. Is that her pregnant then?
Oh yeah, yeah, she's pregnant.
Okay. She's not just getting. Okay. Huh. Yeah, it's. I don't know that I've actually read this issue 23. But I know like the Izzes get like. They're all pink in this with when they fly like. And there's something in this one like Sarah's animal is a horse that she calls Norbert, I think.
That's right. Yeah. And Sarah's not pregnant anymore.
Huh.
Well, this might be a flashback because look, there's Mr. Gone down in the bottom corner. He's not a splatter. This might take place at a different time period.
It's possible. The one I've had like for a long time that has stuck out is this issue 22 though. And mainly just the bizarre house that Sarah and her boyfriend live in. Because like it starts off, she's in here cleaning the cat litter, which I thought was just like nasty. But then there's a hole in the wall from here to from the bathroom into the kitchen. And then there's another part where like they have to crawl. Where's it at? There's the ferry. Yeah, see that's part of my problem is that like I read through it. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. It's like their apartment is all sorts of like just weird sizes, and like they have to like put the bed in like rooms that are too small. There's another spot where there's like where's that? Yeah, there's some sort of like little crawlway or passageway that's in their apartment too. Uh-oh. Oh, this is back when the bone was out. But yeah, it just for some reason like her apartment has just always stuck in my head. Like,
yeah, it's fucking weird. And they did that starts early on. They're crawling around it because Mr. Gone has like a warehouse where he's got Julie kidnapped in the early issues, and it's all like that too.
And this is still he has Bill Mesner Loeb's like helping him with the dialogue.
Yeah,
he always puts it swell dialogue or yeah, that's what he has. This is all the way back in issue 6. It's the same thing.
Oh, it's an issue.
Swell dialogue.
Is that an issue 1?
That's issue 6. What does it say in 1?
No, it just says dialogue in one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just I mean, like he's just. It makes me wish, like, I don't know his actual personal situation or anything, like his financials or anything like that, and I don't, you know, I the stories I've heard is that he is not, he lost rights or he got screwed over with different stuff with the Maxx, and that it's like, sort of like just his experience in comics is kind of one of the reasons, like, you only see like a Sam Kieth comic every blue moon or whatever. You know what I mean?
think the most recent thing he finished was Batman in the Maxx.
Right.
That's probably been 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, because that was, I think there was a new issue of that, or maybe like a late issue of that came out in 2020, and that was obviously 4 years ago. Even with the reprints, I don't think they reprinted like the whole series. I don't think it's ever been collected, or all those later issues, because it goes, how many issues
It goes
are in
to
the
35.
35 issues. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, this issue 20, I just found this. I've always, anytime I've ever bought in comics, I always go, I better go check out the M's, look and see if there's any Maxx issues I don't have. And this is, you never see issues of it. It's just like you were saying, like once it started getting higher in the number count or the issue count, they started having lower print runs, and that's what I'm saying. Like other issues, like you had issue 10. I've never even seen issue 10.
Yeah, I've never seen these issues. I've never even seen the covers of these issues.
That's
how rare they are. That's how scarce the Maxx as a comic series is.
That's what gives it so much more, like makes me like it so much more, because it's like you gotta hunt for it. Like it's pretty easy to find like a copy of issue 1 or Darker Image 1, or like maybe the second issue. The second issue is around a lot, which the second issue might be like this is like my favorite, like, opening page.
That's great.
Her looking on the scale, angry. Let's her gut go, and then like looks in the refrigerator. You get that glow from the refrigerator light. And there's one of these Izzes in there. Just they kidnap her and take her to Mr. Gone's.
Yeah.
But it's those teeth though. Izzes are just so,
they're gnarly,
disturbing looking. Like with those, I feel like they would like break off. Like if they bit you, they would like break. Yeah. You have little teeth fragments stuck in you.
Yeah, like splinters.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you even come up with all that, with that kind of stuff? Like, there's no way to like learn that. It's just somewhere deep inside your brain.
Yeah, that's just throwing your shit down and just saying like, "Yep, that'll do." It's inhibition. That's a term that I've been trying to think of all night as we've been talking about Sam Kieth and the Maxx comics. Is he draws with such an uninhibited style. He just lets it go and he doesn't care. He's not afraid. That's Mr. Gone's cape, by the way. Go back, that top panel.
Right.
His cape is draping over the entire gas station now.
Oh, that's too like
the Izzes are all the Izzes are all old, the same old lady in the car.
This is the guy from the first issue too. Like
that was hanging out with the girl in the laundromat.
Yeah, it's got like weird humor in it too, because like Maxx and Mr. Gone are fighting, they're wrestling on this car, and like Mr. Gone reaches into the car and pulls out this woman. He's like, "Now surrender, hopping boy, or this charming young chippy is added to my score." He's got holding the gun to her head. what does Maxx do? He smashes her into the car.
All the way into the body of the car.
My hostage, you killed my hostage. You killed my. That's like the thing that upsets Mr. Gone the most. Like he loses control. Just you killed my hostage. Just flipping out because he shoots him. Never do that again. And then we see the kid's like, that's really smart. I realized that was my car practice, my CPR practice dummy.
My CPR practice dummy. And he's like, right? A dummy? Oh, right.
This is the other part where it really shows, like, we see that the Izzes are biting him and jumping on and biting him and just holding on, and like, but then we see it from like this kid's perspective, that it's like these old grandmas all biting onto this guy. Like, it's just like so absurd. But
as a 12-year-old, it just didn't get any cooler than this. This was everything I wanted out of a comic book.
And
such uninhibited weirdness.
And then it just, this was the other thing that like I remember as a kid that like what all of us thought was like the oddest thing was his
yes,
soap dispenser that is
a cow pooping the shaving cream out into his hand.
Right. Well, it's okay. So that's the shaving cream, and then that's just water.
And the water comes out of the udder.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I remember just seeing that as a kid, and it was just such an odd. Like I said, it's the same with that doorway in the laundromat. He creates such odd and like memorable like scenes, like scenario, like the backgrounds, the areas. I mean, or think about like in the Outback, there's that mountain that they sit on, that weird little round mountain. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. All of these things, they're all just like architecture or just background items, and it's like they're all like so, just definitive. When you think of the Maxx, you think of like all these weird little images from it, and it's just
right.
I can't comprehend why it's never been like collected, for one. Like that's.
I think there are some trade paperbacks, but they go out of print just as soon as they get collected.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any of like the whole collection. You know what I mean? Like there's not like
they come out in volumes that are like the first 6, then the second 6, and I don't know if they ever finished those.
And those are the ones that no one has. So that's what I'm saying. It's so. Ugh. But it gives you, you know what I mean? Like it gives you like so much of a just like a springboard that like, man, if this guy can do all this stuff, like, there's nothing that you can't, throw into a comic. Like if you have like just some weird, bizarre house you want to draw, a weird character, it's like, just throw it in there. I mean, as long as you put the work into it and make it look neat, it's gonna be. I mean, like what kid is gonna be excited if you tell them like, hey, we've got a new comic about a homeless superhero. Sound pretty cool. Like you're gonna be like, what? Is this like a charity thing? What's going on?
Right.
Like, I don't want to get involved with the Salvation Army. What are you talking about? Right. But I mean, just the execution of it is just fantastic. There's also, had it started yet in here? There was the audio version too. There's like an audio version of the Maxx.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
Like I can't remember how far it goes, but it's
Yeah, I see people trading that in Maxx groups on Facebook. The trading cards and then the CDs. Yeah.
Wait, are they CDs or are they?
Maybe they're audio tapes.
Because that's like I remember seeing there were tapes, and
Yeah, I don't know if they. Yeah, I think they were tapes, not CDs.
I think it's got to be like on YouTube or something too. Like
Yeah, you would think.
the cartoon. I'll have to look for it and see if I can find it because there was someone had taken the cartoon and like spliced together all the episodes.
Yeah,
so that it was just like one full like long like cartoon movie. Like it didn't have all the intros.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. But yeah, man, it's and no one has ever. Can you think of any other comic that is like the Maxx? You know what I mean?
Oh.
This came out 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years ago, and I don't think it's been topped. I don't think it's been topped before or since as the weirdest comic book. Definitely my favorite comic of all time. A huge inspiration for me and the weird career that I've had for the last 20 years. And there's really not a lot. I've never seen an overview video like this on YouTube because this is such a cult book. Not that many people know about it or care enough about it to sit and go through, all these issues for as long as we have. Very rare. Only a few guys. There's a guy called Uncle Jerk. Shout out to Uncle Jerk.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say.
Yeah, he's got like a documentary style series on Sam Kieth and the Maxx. But other than him and a couple of sparse reviews here and there ain't a lot of shit on the Maxx on the internet.
I think he did a nice interview with Bill Messner-Loeb.
With William Messner-Loeb, yeah.
And Kelly Jones. That's actually shout out to Uncle Jerk there because that was where I learned from his interview with Kelly Jones that Kelly Jones and Sam Kieth were high school buddies and early comics buddies and everything. So yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. It surprises me that it's not like that. There's not like more about it. That there's not. There was the McFarlane toy. There was, everyone who sees the Maxx is like, wow, what is that? Like everyone, it's such a standout comic to anyone that sees it that it's like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense that it wasn't like a bigger hit, and also he was like on time with his books. They weren't. He was
he was one. Well, and I think that's what had me collecting the Maxx was because everybody else was late. Dale Keown was late on Pitt.
Yeah.
Everybody was late. Eric Larson was late on Savage Dragon, and these Maxxes just kept churning. Every month, I would go to the comic book shop. There'd be a new Maxx, and those other books lagged way behind.
That's like Wetworks. Did you ever see Wetworks on the stand?
I don't remember Wetworks on the stand. However, you want to talk Wetworks, sir?
Yeah,
I've got your hookup if you want to do an episode on Wetworks. I got them all.
Definitely.
We could talk some Wetworks, but yeah, they were super late too when they came out.
Yeah, I never saw them like as a kid in the 90s. Like that was the one I was like, because I had been huge into Wolves Portaccio on X-Men, right? On Uncanny X-Men.
People are gonna think that we did that as like we set that up. Like I had those fucking Wetworks just waiting for you to say that. No, I've got a.
That was pretty good.
I've got a box right next to me, and I knew right where the Wetworks were in it. All right, well let's call it at that. I think we did a good job. I think we paid good lip service here to Mr. Sam Kieth and the Maxx. And here's to happy hunting to find the rest of those elusive issues 20 and up. And I hope I get my collection someday, and I hope you finish your collection someday, sir. And
getting there.
Let's live to fight another day. My name is Kevin Strange. You can
Dr. Ben.
You can follow my entire career on the link in the description to my Patreon page. Has all my novels, all my comic books, and all my feature films. For just $3 a month, you have access to my entire 20-year catalog of weird storytelling stuff. Dr. Ben, you've got a new book that you're working on right now. What is it called?
Yeah, calling it "Let Us Get." You can follow it on my YouTube or my Substack. You can see all the pages so far. drben.substack.
Link in that link will be down in the description,
Yeah.
and we'll have a link down there too for Mr. Sam Keith's blog, so you can follow along with his new shenanigans. So until next time, gang, keep reading comics and keep loving comics. And Dr. Ben, we'll see you at the quarter sale.
Sounds good. Sounds good.